war in Iraq. If you want to put America back in the peace business in the Middle East and everywhere else, if you want to save a moderate Muslim democracy from Al-Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan, if you want to see America respected in the world again, promoting the end of nuclear weapons instead of ending our cooperation to do that, vote for Hillary. She'll give you that kind of Now, this election has really come down to what you want in a president. There's a wonderful ad running on television in California with Robert Kennedy Jr. and the grandson of Stephen Chavez. And they have pictures that touch me greatly because they are the time when I was the age of most of the students here. When we had a politician that all the establishment said was ruthless and calculating, but who came out to Stephen Chavez and listened to the voiceless and worked with the hopeless and said America should be for everyone. 3 of Robert Kennedy's children have endorsed Hillary in the most passionate terms. They say the presidency is about doing for all Americans. We want someone who will do what our father did. Cesar Chavez's grandson and Dolores Huerta, who founded the farm workers with Cesar Chavez, and the farm workers themselves have endorsed Hillary because they say the presidency is about making positive changes in other people's lives, and she can do that. And I want to say this to all of you to make full disclosure. We are spending $120 billion a year in Iraq. That is enough to provide health insurance for every man, woman, and child in this country. And we have plenty left over. But she wants you to know that we can't save all that money because we're not going to do what happened after the Vietnam War and abandon these men and women who are coming home. And if they need medical help, veterans' homes to live in, a place to go to college, a place to live, and a small business loan, we owe it to them to give it to them. And finally, let me say this. It's important that your president realize that the Constitution calls the president the chief executive officer for a reason. Not to run an organization, not to decide how many paper clips go on the desk of people at the White House, but to take personal responsibility for making positive changes in other people's lives. And of all the people running, she has the best record of having done that over and over and over in the United States Senate, in the White House. As a private citizen, I have never known anyone who did a better job. When we were in law school, all those years ago, she stayed an extra year when everyone else couldn't wait to get out. Because she wanted to work on trying to change the laws in America to provide protection to severely abused and neglected children. There were almost no protections then. And in the place where we were in school, she would come in tears saying, Bill, there are kids being brought into our hospital with cigarette burns in their arms. Kids that hadn't been fed in 10 days or 2 weeks. There are no protections for them. There are now in every place in America, in part because of the work she did. She could have written her ticket. Instead, she took a low-paying job with the Children's Defense Fund and began to investigate why so many poor children were dropping out of school. And she found that it was because many of them had a mental or a physical disability, usually quite a minor one. But our schools then were not organized to educate children with disabilities. The work she and her young friends did were sent to Congress, and it became the basis of the landmark special education law, which now requires an equal and appropriate public education to all of our children without regard to when we lived in Arkansas and I was governor, she brought in a program to teach young mothers without an education to prepare their children to do better in school. By the time I ran for president, it had spread to 26 states like wildfire. because it worked. It empowered people. It worked like this community college. And every year now, still, thousands and thousands of children get off to a better start in school from very difficult backgrounds because she was making positive changes in other people's lives. In the White House, she worked with Republicans to double the number of adoptions from foster homes into permanent adoptive homes. She worked to pass the Children's Health Insurance Bill, which gives 6 million children health insurance in this country. The biggest. In Latin America and Africa and Asia, everywhere. Your wife, when she was in the White House, came to our country and did this, that, and the other thing that changed our lives for the better forever. You want to make people to like America again, you will let Hillary Clinton. And another went to the Senate and the Republicans were in the majority, and they said, oh, they'll never work with her. They don't like the Clintons. There was some truth to that. After all, thanks to California and a few other places, we won twice, and our ideas worked better. But she said, I'm not going to leave that for a minute. The public office is a public trust, and people are basically good. We will find some way to work together. And working together, when she was in the minority, she passed legislation to improve children's health, to take care of all those wonderful firemen and policemen that were badly injured, breathing contaminated materials in the aftermath of 9/11, to get body armor to our troops quicker, to guarantee that when National Guardsmen and reservists from California serve in our military and get injured overseas, when they come home for life, they now get the same exact health care coverage that members of the regular armed forces get. To care for them without losing their job. And so much more. So much more. And you should care about that. Why? Because the next president cannot pass health care reform, energy reform, jobs reform, education reform without some Republican votes in the Senate. And she has proved that she can do it in a way that does not compromise the principles, but lifts us all together. That's the kind of president we want. Someone who will deliver positive change in your lives. I think it would be a good thing if we had the first woman president. Of course, my mother was recently widowed when I was born. My grandmother and grandfather took care of me while she went back to school. My grandmother worked all her life for peanuts. When my mother came home, she got up before dawn every day of my childhood and went to work so I could have a better life. Yeah, I think that would be a good thing. But I also think it would be a great thing when we have our first African American, our first Hispanic, our first Asian, our first Native American. Those countries, we're making this room. This country is not about race and gender, it's about an idea that if you liberate people to work together, there is nothing we cannot achieve. The reason I don't want California to be there for Hillary tomorrow is, you know we have always been there for you. Sometimes people say, oh, she wants to go back to the 90s. Well, compared to this decade, that's not true. She does not want to go back to the 90s. She just wants to get you back on your feet again so we can go forward